Hi, my name's Philip, also known as Dr. Fixit, and today I'm going to be talking about chapter 15 of Proverbs. In chapter 15, we're going to be focusing directly on verse 28. Verse 28 in the New Living Translation reads, "The heart of the godly thinks carefully before speaking. The mouth of the wicked overflows with evil words." You know, one of the things that we should stop and think about when we consider this particular verse is, how often do we just pop off in anger, or people, they spout off things that they later regret, or they don't really mean, or they don't contemplate about how it's going to affect other people, how it's going to make other people feel. In today's society, so often, people are what I like to term me-centric. They think about me. It's about me and what I want and how it can benefit me and what I can get out of it. They don't stop to think about the real essence of where life is, where we want to go, where we want to be, and who we should be following. It says that the heart of the godly thinks carefully before speaking. If we go look at 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 15, Peter says, and I quote, "Instead, you must worship Christ as Lord of your life. And if someone asks about your hope as a believer, always," he says, always be ready to explain it. Always be ready to explain it. So, how can you be ready to explain it? Well, one of the things that we must do is we must really sit back and we must make sure that we're feeding our souls. You know, I talk to a lot of people. For example, I talk to people that go to school, or people that go some other place, people that are in the military, for example, that live in the barracks, and they can go to the chow hall. And I ask them, I say, do you go to the chow hall and get, you eat 3 meals a day, 7 days a week? Do you go to the chow hall and pick up 21 trays, or, 21 meals, and, okay, I'll see you next week? Of course not. So one of the things that we really have to consider and we really have to think about is, how are we feeding our souls? Do we think that an hour in church is going to feed our soul once a week? No, we have to eat daily. As Christians, it's essential to our growth, our spiritual growth, to eat daily. One of the things that best way we can do that is to pick up our Bible, to read. It only takes 5 or 10 minutes. And then that gives you something to think about, to contemplate on, to mull over, to really chew up in your mind and take with you throughout the day, or to reflect on if you read in the evening. Additionally, you can take what you've read and apply it. Well, when you start doing this, then you start thinking about the godly things, and you begin to carefully think before you speak, instead of just allowing your mouth to overflow with evil words and whatever comes. In some of my upcoming videos, I'll talk about how what's in our heart leads to what we think, and what we think leads to what we say, and what we say leads to what we do. So you need to think about, where is your heart and what are you really thinking about? And that's going to get you ready to be always ready to talk about your faith, about your Lord, about your King, about the Prince of Peace. Again, I want to thank you for joining me today. I don't want to make my videos too very long, so I'm going to cut this kind of short. Our proverb for today was chapter 15, verse 28. In the New Living Translation reads, "The heart of the godly thinks carefully before speaking. The mouth of the wicked overflows with evil words." What are you talking about?